Air Thrills here! Today I'm going over my top 10 favorite airtime moments. These are moments of airtime that are way better than average and give you that stomach pit feeling I love. I'll be limiting my picks to 2 per coaster so a certain wooden coaster doesn't dominate this list. One more thing before I get started, no first drops. I already have a list of my favorite first drops and I don't want to load this list up with them. So with that being said, let's get started. At number 10, we have Screamin' Eagle's second airtime hill. This is one of the most sustained airtime moments on this list as it starts with weak floater, but ends with decent ejector coming down. The hill's drop is actually larger than the first, and in a way better, so it also gets that. This moment is just a really solid airtime pop, while not being anything insane. It's still good enough to make this list. Next up at number 9, we have the boss's drop off the turn after the mid-course brake run. This airtime moment gives a sharp pop of ejector, and is one of the better parts of this coaster as it flings you in a way I can't describe. In my opinion, this is the 4th best part of Boss, and it isn't the last time you'll see the coaster on this list, as this coaster has a lot of airtime moments, but sadly only 2 can make it. Swooping in at number 8, we have the first and only entry from Goliath. This is the one airtime moment on Goliath, and I think it gives some crazy sustained ejector, and is overall one of the better parts of this short coaster. But not the absolute craziest ejector, the way it sustains it for the entire hill is what puts it on this list. One of the best floater moments I've ever been on is next up at number 7, which is Raging Bull's Camelback. When I wrote this last year, the airtime was really strong floater, which I believe is the most sustained airtime moment I've ever experienced. People dig on this ride for having no airtime, when it actually has plenty of airtime moments, including the drop of the first Camelback, the airtime moment on drop off the mid-course, and the airtime moment right after that. There's 4 solid airtime moments on this coaster, which while not as many as other B&M hypers, is still enough to satisfy me personally. Just beating Raging Bull's Camelback is my favorite pure floater moment, and that has to be Powder Keg's Camelback after the launch. I never even wrote this in the back row, and it's still one of the best floater sensations I ever felt. You go into this moment right off the launch, which means you go in with a lot of speed, which is why it's higher than Raging Bull's hill. The floater is just a lot stronger than Raging Bull's moment, despite not being quite as sustained, which is what puts it over Raging Bull's Camelback. Next up at number 5 is a sequence of airtime moments after the first drop on Boss. These are the 2 back-to-back sharp pops of ejector airtime, and is my opinion the 3rd best part of the ride. The reason these pops are so sharp is because they're right after the first drop while you're still going at top speed while traversing them. So the ejector is just so strong, which is why I put it this high on the list. For my number 4 pick, we have Outlaw Run's only entry, and that's its wave turn. This is my personal favorite part of Outlaw Run, with how it completely ejects you while you're sideways, and is one of the weirdest sensations of any coaster I've ridden. Just the way it feels while you're being flung over, going sideways, is indescribable and really has to be experienced, people believe. This airtime moment can't be described. It needs to be experienced, in my opinion. Hitting the top 3, we have the first element from the Voyage to make this list, and that's the second Camelback. It starts with some crazy floater and then ends with such a sharp ejector pop that I actually hurt my back because I didn't see it coming. When airtime is strong enough to hurt your back, that's when you know how insane it is. And this isn't the first airtime moment on this list that was strong enough to hurt my back. The runner-up on this list is the triple down on the Voyage. This triple down is insane, but only because of the 3rd down. The first doesn't give any air, the second gives a quick pop of floater, but the 3rd is the 2nd best moment of ejector I've ever felt on a coaster. The way it builds into that moment is unlike any other coasters I've been on, as the airtime pops just get better and better until it hits that insane ending when the ride has all its speed back. And finally, at number 1 is a moment you probably wouldn't expect on this list, let alone at number 1, is the drop off the second turnaround on Screamin' Eagle in the back on the blue train. That one moment of ejector is so insanely strong that it crushes every other moment of airtime I've ever experienced. The POVs don't make it look like much, but when this coaster is hauling, this is the singular best airtime moment I've experienced. I did not see it coming the first time I rode Screamin' Eagle in the back in 2016, and I really hurt my back, and it really ruined the rest of my day. But when I rode it again and knew to prepare, I braced myself, and I got the best pop of ejector I've ever gotten. Now I don't even brace myself, as it's best to just let yourself fly. And one time this moment was so insanely strong, it literally stapled my lap bar so hard, so the rest of the ride was really uncomfortable, but it was so worth it. So this was my list of the best airtime moments I've experienced. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Please subscribe, everybody!